Hello, listeners. It's Gunter Swoboda here with some exciting news. We're on the lookout for sponsors to join us on our incredible journey with Inspire Change with Gunter. If your organization cares deeply about meaningful conversations around masculinity, self development, and mental health, we'd love to partner with you. Our podcast has a wonderful, dedicated audience committed to personal growth and positive social change. By sponsoring Inspire Change with Gunter, your brand will connect with listeners who truly value thoughtful discussion and support initiatives that promote real transformation. We're incredibly proud to be ranked number 1 in Australia and number 5 in the USA on FeedSpot's top men's mental health podcasts. For more information on how to become a sponsor, please reach out to Miranda Spiegner Sapon, our showrunner and executive producer. We'd love to explore how we can work together to inspire change. Now, thank you for your continued support, and let's keep inspiring change together.
You're listening to Inspire Change, a broadcast that strives to educate, motivate, and empower men to challenge traditions of masculinity. To guide us through the intricacies and intersections of emotions, relationships, and male identity is renowned psychologist, author, and speaker Gunter Swoboda. This is Inspire Change.
Before I begin the actual podcast, I would like to respectfully acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which I work. I would also like to pay my respects to their elders past and present. Welcome everybody to another episode of Inspire Change with Gunter. I'm your host. Welcome everybody to another episode of Inspire Change with Gunter. You know, sometimes we treat healing as a finish line. You push hard, you do the work, and at some point you expect to be done. Anyone who has lived through grief, addiction, trauma, or the long repair of a relationship knows it doesn't really work like that. Healing is not a straight road. It's not a straight line. It's seasonal. It loops, it spirals, it takes you forward. Then it asks you to return to old ground with new eyes. And today I want to talk about the long game. We're talking about how to navigate setbacks without losing heart, and how to grow in a way that respects your limits and stretches your capacity. So when I say healing is lifelong, I'm not being a fatalist. I'm being honest about how humans develop. You don't wake up one day with no triggers, no shame, no regret, and no urges to fall back into old moves. You wake up with a body that remembers, a mind that rehearses certain fears, and a life that keeps throwing curveballs. The task here isn't to erase human nature. The task is to build a relationship with it that is steady, kind, and effective. Think about a time in your life when you thought you had beat something. Maybe you stopped drinking or dropped a toxic habit. Maybe you repaired a relationship. Months later, out of nowhere, something tugs you back. You can feel the old pull. You slip. Or you come close. The shame can be loud in that moment. It tells you the story that you failed and that all your progress was a lie. The shame is wrong. A setback is not proof that you haven't healed. It is proof that you are still human and that you're being asked to level up your practice. I use the word practice on purpose. Practice teaches us that we need to be consistent and persistent. It takes us away from perfection and into process. When you treat healing as a practice, you can measure progress in a humane way. You can ask better questions. Did I recognize the early signs sooner? Did I shorten the time between slip and repair? Did I tell the truth faster? Did I return to my values after the mistake rather than defend it for days? Now, that's growth. So let's talk a bit about how a setback actually unfolds. A pressure enters the system. It might be fatigue, a conflict you didn't see coming, some money stress, a memory triggered by a song, or a sense of not being in control. The body registers it first. Your breath tightens, scanning narrows, speech might speed up. Now the story arrives after the body speaks. Then you get the old narrative. I'm alone. I have to fix this right now. I deserve a break. They don't understand me. The thought combines with the body's agitation, and suddenly you're reaching for the move that used to give relief. If it was alcohol, the drink. There might be a secret message. The angry escalation. The retreat into silence. You know your own version all too well if you reflect and contemplate it. Now, the beauty of all of this is that once you can see that sequence, you can actually change it. The first intervention is never clever. It's actually just simple. Slow the exhale, unclench the jaw, drop your shoulders and name the pressure out aloud. I'm tense and I'm rushing. Or I'm scared I will lose them. Another one is, I really want to avoid this. The naming is not indulgent. It is the moment when you take the wheel back from autopilot. It gives you that beat to choose the next step on purpose rather than reflex. It is about the intention. Now here is a story I hear often in different forms. A man promises himself he will not raise his voice in front of the kids. He keeps it together all week. Then Friday arrives with work stress, little sleep, and one small provocation. He snaps. He sees the fear in his child's eyes. He feels disgust and shame. In the old pattern, he might double down, justify it, or withdraw and say nothing. In the new pattern, he takes the next right step. He slows his breath. He names what happened, first to himself and then to the people involved. He apologizes without a lecture. He sets a small corrective move for tomorrow, like a walk with his child, a clearer plan for the next Friday, or a rule about stepping outside for 60 seconds before replying. It is that difference between reaction and response. Now, this is not theatrical. It is repair in motion. Now, over time, the interval between trigger and repair shrinks, and the home gets safer. Now, what's important too to recognise is that healing is not just personal. It happens between people. You cannot become well in a vacuum, and you cannot stay well in a vacuum. Community is not a buzzword. It is the ecosystem that keeps you honest and supported. I'm talking about one or two people who know your story, know your tells, and have permission to ask you the hard questions. Not every day, not in a performative way, just enough to keep you awake to your commitment. We make healing harder when we try to white-knuckle it alone. Now, I want to address the idea of imperfection. Many people hear the phrase embrace imperfection, and they think it means lowering standards. It doesn't. What it really means is recognizing that standards without self-respect become cruelty. Healing thrives on a different combination. Clear standards, steady compassion, and a bias towards repair. You need all three. And if you remove compassion, the standards will break you. If you remove standards, compassion becomes a cover story for stagnation. If you remove repair, you stay stuck telling yourself the same looped apology. The art is holding them together on your worst day, not just on your best day. There is a move I teach that helps with this. I call it the and also move. It's a simple mental habit that keeps you out of the all or nothing thinking. I lost my temper, and I'm still committed to being a safe man. I feel disappointed, and I can choose a response that lines up with who I want to be. You do not excuse the harm. You refuse to define yourself by the worst moment. And it's not a spin. This is accountability with dignity. So let's talk about relapse for a moment, because the word carries heat. If you've lived with addiction, you know relapse can be dangerous. I'm not romanticizing it. I'm saying the difference between a lapse and a collapse often comes down to what you're doing that hour after it happens. If you disappear into secrecy, the collapse arrives. If you tell one trusted person and take one stabilizing action, you often prevent a week of damage. The first stabilizing action might be as small as food, water, and a walk and an honest text. It sounds basic because it is. The body needs steadying before the mind can make complex choices. You already know this, but we forget it under pressure.
I wanted to introduce you to the folks over at More Labs. They have a product called Morning Recovery. It's the #1 alcohol recovery supplement that helps you wake up clear-headed and refreshed. Clinically proven and trusted by thousands, with 20 million plus bottles sold and a 4.9 star rating on Google. It works. Try it risk-free, and we will give you an exclusive discount for you to enjoy with our promo code at morelabs.com. Details and links about the company, their products, will be listed in the show notes, so please check there for more information, and also the direct link to our promo code. Thank you.
Now let me bring in purpose, because purpose changes the rules. When you live by performance, every slip feels like an identity crisis. When you live by purpose, a slip is a reminder to return. Purpose keeps the compass steady when the weather turns. If your purpose is to be a present father, an honest partner, or a leader who builds trust, then the setback becomes part of that same purpose. You repair because that's the kind of man you're trying to be, not because you are trying to protect an image. Sometimes healing asks us to grieve the version of ourselves we were promised. Many men grew up with the idea that strength means invulnerability and control. Real strength looks different. It looks like recognition. It looks like saying, I cannot do this alone, or I need a pause, then I'll come back. It looks like starting the conversation again after a bad start. It really looks like letting your nervous system settle before you make a decision that affects your family. These acts do not look heroic from the outside. They are heroic from the inside. Over time, they change a life, your life. I often describe growth as a set of small, repeatable loops rather than one grand moment. A loop looks like this. You notice the earlier signs faster. You choose a regulating action sooner. You tell the truth earlier. you repair more directly. You plan one next move that keeps you aligned. Then you do it again next week. These loops do not make life tidy. They make you trustworthy to yourself. Now, if you like something practical, try this for the next 30 days. Each morning, take 60 seconds to check your body. Ask where the tension is. Name one feeling and one value you want to live by today. Keep it short. At lunch, ask yourself if you need a reset. If you do, take 2 minutes to breathe and restart. In the evening, take 5 minutes to review. Where did I move towards my value? Where did I move away? What do I need to repair tomorrow? Write one sentence, not a diary. Then once a week, tell your accountability partner one truth and one plan. It will take less time than the scrolling you will not remember. For those navigating trauma, remember that healing may involve returning to places you would rather avoid. Go slowly. Go with support. Let your body set the pace. Use anchors that remind your nervous system that you are safe right now. A scent, a song, a phrase, or a different breathing pattern. If your body says stop, stop. You are not failing in that moment. You are setting the conditions for deeper work later. If you're in therapy, ask for work that honours both your capacity and your courage. Ask for micro goals. Ask for clear aftercare when a session opens something raw. You are definitely allowed to ask for what you need. Now, relationships deserve a moment here. If you hurt someone you love, you cannot force them to move on at your pace. The work is to be consistent, to hold the consequences without collapsing into self-hatred, and to keep showing up with the same honest posture. Setbacks in relationships are unavoidable. The repair is your responsibility even when the outcome is uncertain. This is adult love. It's not a movie arc, it's a daily craft. In men's groups and leadership programs, I see the same turning point again and again. The moment a man realises he can survive the feeling of shame without acting from it, he sets himself free. He stops running. He stops dominating. He stops disappearing. He learns to stay present when his body tells him to flee or run away or fight. That is when his partner trusts him more. That is when his kids breathe a sigh of relief. That is when his team knows he's safe to follow. It doesn't come from speeches. It comes from practice under pressure and a plan for when he slips. As you hear all of this, notice the place you feel defensive or tired in. Healing fatigue is real. Life keeps demanding effort. If you feel worn out, shorten the horizon, bring it back today. Choose one small act that reflects who you want to be. Drink the water. Send the honest text. Schedule the repair conversation. Walk around the block before you answer the message that poked your pride. Sometimes the win is to avoid making a wound bigger. Sometimes the win is to take a step that future you will respect. So let me close with a simple frame for the next time you face a setback. First, stabilize the body. Breathe, relax the tension in your body, in your muscles. Second, tell the smallest honest truth to one person. Third, choose one repair or one boundary. Fourth, schedule the next supportive action within 24 hours. Then, move on with your day. No theatrics, no self-flagellation. Steady, human, repeatable. So in closing, let me remind you that healing is a lifelong journey, and it's not a sentence. It's an invitation. It lets you live with compassion and with standard. It respects the fact that you are complex, that culture pulls on you, that your history still speaks, and that you are not defined by the worst thing you've done or the hardest thing that happened to you. You are defined by what you practice when those things show up again. If today's episodes landed, tell someone what you will practice this week and when you will report back. That simple accountability can change the whole month. And on that note, this is me, Gunter, signing off. Until next time, be the change.
Hello to all our listeners. We thank you for tuning in and promoting positive social change. This makes you a part of Gunter's efforts in transforming not only men's lives, but lives in general, and we're grateful you have joined us. This week, we're taking a look at the global listeners list, and for the first time, we would like to share our gratitude with our listeners in Iraq. Thank you, Baghdad and Nineveh, for bringing Iraq onto the list at number 10. Congratulations! We appreciate your efforts of supporting positive social change. I, Devonna Prinzi, the co-executive producer, and our showrunner, Miranda Spigner-Sapone, sincerely thank you and ask that you please take the time to like, follow, subscribe, and share as your efforts make a difference to everyone here at Inspire Change with Gunter. Please remember, if you want to share your story of social change, feel free to reach out to the show directly. Please see the show notes for contact information. As always, thank you to each and every one of our listeners, and most importantly, please keep inspiring positive social change.
Love to hear from you. And if you're interested, please check out my work on www.gunterswoboda.com or www.goodmengreat.com.
Thank you for listening to Inspire Change, a broadcast that strives to educate, motivate, and empower men to challenge traditions of masculinity. For more information on the Making Good Men Great movement, or for individual or group coaching sessions with Gunter, visit goodmengreat.com.